For 1,000 years, Earth was a quiet place, where no more wars. People had stopped fighting each other long ago. Countries had joined together and built one world government called the World Council. Everyone lived in peace. Crime was rare. Hunger and sickness were almost gone. People traveled between cities and planets. The Moon and Mars had human colonies. Space stations floated near Jupiter and Saturn, until life was safe and calm. Riley lived in a tall city on Earth. She was a young historian who worked at the Earth Archive Center. She liked to read old books about the past. Most people found history boring, but Riley was different. She wanted to know how the world had changed. She wanted to understand how people had gone from fighting wars to living in peace. She spent her time looking at pictures and videos of the old world. She saw tanks, soldiers, fire, and sadness, but none of it felt real to her. Lena was a peace officer. Her job was to help people solve problems without using force. She worked in the same city as Riley. They had met at a meeting about historical records. Riley found Lena interesting because she had studied how people solve problems using peace instead of fear. Lena was smart and calm. She listened more than she talked. One morning, everything changed. A signal came from deep space. It was not from any human ship. It was strong, loud, and very clear. The message repeated again and again. The scientists at the Deep Space Listening Center could not understand it at first. They used old code-breaking programs. They worked for hours. Finally, the message was translated. It was a warning. An alien race called the Zyrix was coming. They had watched Earth for many years. Now, they believed humans had grown weak. The Zyrix did not believe in peace. They lived by war. They said they would arrive in 30 days to begin the first strike. They were ready to fight. They wanted to test if Earth could still defend itself. The World Council met that same day. Leaders from Earth, Mars, and the Moon joined the call. They did not scream or argue. They spoke with calm voices. The head of the council said, "Fear is not our way. We will not return to the old world. We will face this challenge as the people we are now." Lena was called to help with planning. She joined the special team called the Sentinel Corps. These were people trained in calm thinking, fast decision-making, and mental strength. They did not use guns. They used advanced tools that could stop attacks without hurting anyone. Riley was asked to join the knowledge team. Her job was to study alien messages and learn more about the Zyrix. She had never worked on something so big. She felt nervous, but also proud. People across Earth heard the news, but there was no panic. No one ran or screamed. They listened. They helped each other. Children went to school as usual. Farmers worked in the fields. Pilots flew their ships. Life moved forward. Zyrix had expected fear, but Earth did not give them fear. It gave them silence, a deep, powerful silence. Lena stood on the roof of her building and looked at the stars. She knew the Zyrix were out there, moving closer every hour. She did not shake. She closed her eyes and breathed. Riley sat in front of a screen, reading old stories about the last war Earth ever had. She saw pictures of soldiers crying, families breaking, cities burning, and she thought to herself, "We have come so far, cannot go back." In 30 days, the Zyrix would arrive. Earth would be ready, but not with fear, something stronger. The Zyrix warning spread across every colony and station. People on Earth, the Moon, and Mars all heard the same message. We are coming. Prepare for battle. But Earth did not prepare like the Zyrix expected. The World Council did not build new bombs or call for armies. Instead, they sent calm voices through the communication lines. They said, "We are not afraid. We will not fight like you expect." In the center of New Avalon, the capital city of Earth, Riley walked into a large building made of glass and steel. It was the Language and Culture Division. She was now part of the alien research team. Her job was to study every word, symbol, and sound in the Zyrix message. She worked with a group of linguists, scientists, and thinkers. Together, they tried to understand the meaning behind the alien threat. "They do not just want war," said one older linguist. "They want fear. They want us to be afraid before they even arrive," Riley agreed. The Zyrix believed fear was power. That was why their message had been so loud, so strong. It was not just a warning, it was a test. Lena stood in a training room with the other Sentinels. They were not soldiers in the old way. They trained their minds more than their bodies. They learned to stay calm, even when danger was near. They practiced using advanced tools that could block energy attacks, control machines, and shut down enemy systems without violence. Lena listened as her commander spoke. We do not fight with fear. We stop fear. We protect with our minds. The Zyrix have never met people like us. Meanwhile, the Zyrix ships moved closer. They passed the edge of the solar system. Large black ships with red lights floated like dark clouds in space. They sent out more messages. You still have time to surrender. The World Council answered with one message. We do not surrender. We stand in peace. People all over Earth watched the news, but there was no panic. Children played in parks. Workers built homes and roads. Families shared meals. Life continued. Riley found something new in the alien message, a symbol that was not part of their main language. She showed it to her team. After hours of study, they learned it was an old Zyrix word. It meant fear through memory. The Zyrix wanted humans to remember their old wars and feel weak again. But humans had changed. The old wars were now history, not pain. They had learned from the past, not been broken by it. Lena and her team were sent to a special station near Mars. It was called Station Harmony. From there, they could watch the Zyrix ships more closely. They trained every day not to fight with weapons, but to stay strong in mind and heart. One day, Riley received a short message from Lena. We are ready. They will not understand our peace. Riley smiled and sent a message back. They will learn. As the days passed, the Zyrix sent more threats. But Earth did not reply with fear. They replied with silence, with calm eyes, and with strong minds. In the last week before the Zyrix arrival, the World Council held a global moment of stillness. All machines stopped for 1 minute. All people stood silent. From Earth to the Moon to Mars, there was quiet. It was not weakness. It was the power of peace. The Zyrix did not understand it. They thought it was a trick. But Earth was not hiding. Earth was ready. The Zyrix were about to learn what it meant to face a world without fear. The Zyrix ships entered Earth's orbit on a dark morning. They came without warning. Their ships were large and shaped like long blades. Red lights moved along their sides. People across Earth looked up at the sky. The ships blocked the sunlight. But still, there was no fear. The World Council sent out a message. Stay calm, stay ready. We are not alone, but we are not afraid. On Station Harmony, Lena stood with the other Sentinels. They watched the Zyrix ships on large screens. Each ship was covered in armor, but they were not here to land. They were here to scare. The Zyrix fired the first shot. It was not aimed at Earth, but at a small lunar base. The base had already been emptied 2 days before. The Zyrix expected to find humans running in fear. Instead, they found silence. Machines had been powered down. Walls had been painted with messages. We do not fight with fear. We do not run. We are human. The Zyrix paused. They sent a message asking for Earth's surrender. The World Council replied with a simple answer. We are open to talk. The Zyrix sent a virtual link request. They wanted to speak face to face. The Council chose Riley and Lena to join the contact room. Riley would speak, Lena would observe and protect. The room was deep under the Earth. It had white walls and soft lights. A large screen lit up. On it appeared the face of a Zyrix commander. His skin was dark silver. His eyes were bright green. He wore armor made of sharp lines. Why do you not fear us? He asked. We have destroyed many worlds. We bring war. You act like we are not even here. Riley looked at him. Her voice was steady. Because we are not like other worlds. We ended war long ago. We do not need fear to be strong. The Zyrix commander narrowed his eyes. That is weakness. Lena spoke for the first time. No, that is growth. Commander ended the call. On their ships, the Zyrix grew angry. They launched smaller crafts toward Mars. They thought Earth was hiding something. They wanted to fight. But the crafts were stopped in space. Not with guns, but with signal blockers. Their systems shut down, and they drifted. No one was hurt. No one died. The Zyrix did not understand. Every time they pushed, Earth did not push back in the way they knew. Riley returned to her team. She studied the video of the Zyrix commander. She watched his face. his eyes. She said to her team, "He does not know how to face peace. He only knows control." Lena stayed at Station Harmony. The Sentinels began using mental link training, could now send thoughts to each other faster than speaking. They watched every move the Zyrix made. They were ready for the next step. Back on Earth, people planted trees. Children drew pictures of stars. Artists painted walls with bright colors. Life did not stop. It became more alive. Zyrix sent another message. "If you do not fight us, we will destroy one of your moons." The World Council sent back, "We will not fight your fear with fear. We will protect life without destroying." That night, one Zyrix pilot flew close to Earth alone. He was curious. He wanted to see if humans were really without fear. His ship was caught in a light field. He was brought down gently. He was not harmed. He was brought to a safe room. Riley went to see him. She said, "We are not your enemy. We just want to live in peace." The pilot looked at her and said nothing. But something in his eyes changed. The first encounter had begun, and Earth had already shown the first lesson. The Zyrix ships stayed in orbit, waiting. They watched Earth with their sharp eyes and scanned every move. But the humans did not gather weapons. They did not launch fighters. They only stood calm and quiet. Inside Station Harmony, Lena stood in the center of the Sentinel training hall. The room was wide with bright lights and silver walls. Around her, the Sentinels sat in silence, their eyes closed. They were training their minds. Their tools were not guns or bombs. Their power came from focus, deep thought, and strong hearts. Each Sentinel wore a silver band around their head. These bands could link with machines and control defense systems. They could stop enemy ships, block attacks, and even read signals without touching a screen. The Zyrix had never seen anything like this.
Lena opened her eyes.
She saw the others breathing slowly, calm like still water. She nodded. "We are ready." Riley, back on Earth, worked in the Archive Center. Her team had found old data from when humans first made peace. They studied how fear was removed from schools, homes, and public life. She looked at the Zyrix messages again. Each word was sharp, meant to hurt, meant to scare. But fear did not grow here anymore. The Zyrix grew restless. They sent a group of ships toward Mars. They wanted to strike again, but this time, the Sentinels were ready. In orbit around Mars, 10 Zyrix ships appeared. The Sentinels moved into place. They were aboard a new station called Guardian Point. From there, they activated the quantum shield. A soft blue light covered the station and the area around it. The Zyrix fired. Their beams of red light hit the shield, but the energy was pulled in and absorbed. Humans did not fire back. Instead, the Sentinels used their tools. They sent out a wave that shut down the Zyrix weapons. One by one, the alien ships stopped moving. No one was harmed. No one died. The Zyrix ships floated, still and confused. Lena watched from the control room. She sent a message to the Zyrix leader. "You can try to break us, but we are not built like you. We do not answer violence with more violence." The reply came fast. "Then you are already lost." Lena spoke softly. "No, we have already won." The news of the Mars event spread fast. People on Earth cheered, not because someone was beaten, but because no one was hurt. A battle had ended without pain. That was the real victory. Riley looked at pictures of the stopped ships. She felt a deep feeling inside her. Not pride, but hope. She sent a message to Lena. "They are starting to see." A day later, something strange happened. A Zyrix soldier sent a message to Earth. He wanted to speak. He had seen what the Sentinels did. He said he wanted to understand this kind of power. Power without hate. The World Council approved a meeting. The soldier was brought to a quiet place near the sea. Riley was there to speak. The soldier, tall and made of hard armor, looked out at the water. He asked, "Why do you not fight us like others do?" Riley answered, "Because we learned that fear only makes more fear. We learned a better way." The soldier stayed silent. Then he asked, "Can I learn it too?" That night, more Zyrix messages arrived. A small group wanted to leave the war. They asked if they could speak with the World Council. They did not want to destroy anymore. Back at Station Harmony, Lena looked up at the stars. She felt the change begin. It was slow, but it was real. The new warriors of Earth did not use bullets or bombs. They used strength of mind and peace of heart. The Zyrix were beginning to understand. The Zyrix fleet floated in silence. Their weapons had failed. Their messages of fear had not worked. Their soldiers had not been met with hate. Instead, they were met with calm minds and peaceful strength. Inside the command ship of the Zyrix, the leaders were confused and angry. They had trained for war. They had won many battles across the galaxy. But this enemy was different. Humans did not act like other races. Humans did not fear them. One Zyrix general slammed his hand on the table. "You must be hiding something. No one can be this calm. No one can be this strong without war." But some of the Zyrix soldiers had started to doubt their leaders. One of them, a young pilot named Zyrix, had seen the peaceful cities on Earth through the ship's scans. He had watched children laugh and people walk freely under the sky. He had seen the Sentinels stop attacks without hurting anyone. Zyrix remembered what the human named Riley had said. "We do not answer fear with fear. We do not answer hate with hate." He could not stop thinking about it. Riley, on Earth, met with the World Council. She brought reports from her team. Many Zyrix messages have changed in tone. Some now use words of question, not threat. They are confused. That means they are beginning to think. The council leader nodded. "Then we must keep showing them who we really are." On Station Harmony, Lena trained with the Sentinels. They were now teaching others how to stay calm during pressure. The schools across Earth had added mental strength lessons. Children learned how to breathe slow, think clear, and face fear without panic. Another message came from Zyrix. He asked if he could meet Riley again. The council allowed it. This time, Zyrix was brought to Earth, to a peaceful garden near the ocean. Riley waited there with some members of her team. Zyrix stepped from the ship. His armor was lighter now. His walk was slower. "I came because I want to know," he said. "I want to understand how you changed. We were made for war. But you were once like us, were you not?" Riley nodded. "Yes. Long ago, we also believed war was the only way. We fought for power, land, and fear. But we destroyed so much. We lost too many lives. We finally stopped and asked, what are we doing? Then we chose a new way." Zyrix looked at the waves. "I think I want that way too." He was taken to speak with the World Council. He shared the truth. Many Zyrix soldiers were not loyal to war. They followed because they knew nothing else. But now, after seeing Earth, some were ready to leave the path of war. The Council sent peaceful messages to all Zyrix ships. They said, "We will not harm you. If you wish to talk, we are ready. If you wish to leave war behind, we will help." Some Zyrix commanders grew more angry. They called those who wanted peace weak and broken. But their words were not as strong as before. More Zyrix ships stopped moving. Some turned off their weapons. A few even left orbit and flew away to think alone. Lena watched the change from Station Harmony. She told her team, fear is no longer their weapon. Now, it is their chain, and they are trying to break it. On Earth, people lit lights in the sky to welcome peace. They did not celebrate victory. They waited with hope. The broken enemy was not weak. They were just lost. And now some of them were finding a new path. The war was not over, but something had begun. Something new, something better. Zyrix stood alone in a quiet room inside the Earth Council Center. He looked out at the sea through a large window. The waves moved slowly, and the sky was soft and blue. It was the first time he had seen a planet that did not prepare for war. He closed his eyes and remembered his home. The Zyrix world was full of cold metal towers, dark skies, and endless training fields. There were no parks, no laughter, no peace. It's only orders, drills, and fear. Riley entered the room with a calm smile. She sat beside him. "The others are ready," she said. Zyrix nodded. He had spoken to a small group of Zyrix soldiers who had landed secretly on one of Saturn's moons. They had seen Earth's message. They had seen the Sentinels. Now they wanted to end the war. That group called themselves the Free Zyrix. They asked Riley and Lena for help. The World Council agreed. They sent small, peaceful ships to meet the Free Zyrix. The Sentinels guided them. No weapons were used. No threats were made. The meeting was quiet and full of new hope. Lena met the Free Zyrix on the moon base. She walked slowly toward them. They did not hold weapons. They did not speak loudly. They only watched her with curious eyes. "Why do you trust us?" asked one Zyrix commander. "Because you came in peace," Lena answered. "And peace is always the first step." The Zyrix looked at each other, then they said they were ready to send a message to their homeworld. They wanted to tell others what they had seen, what they had learned. The Sentinels helped them build a powerful signal tower who would send the message across space. Zurin stood in front of the transmitter. He spoke in the Zyrix language. "We were born in war. We were trained in fear. But we have seen another way. Earth is not weak. Earth is strong in a different way. We have seen people who protect without hate. We have seen a life where no one is forced to fight. Brothers and sisters, there is another path. We ask you to listen. We ask you to see." The message was sent. All Zyrix ships in orbit received it. The Zyrix homeworld received it too. Inside the main Zyrix warship, leaders watched the message. Some grew angry. Others stayed silent. One old general stood up and said, "Maybe we were wrong. Maybe fear is not the only power." The ship grew quiet. On Earth, the World Council opened a communication line. It was an open signal, free for all to hear. Riley and Lena stood before the camera. "We do not seek control," Riley said. "We do not want to destroy the Zyrix. We only want peace. If you wish to talk, we are here. If you wish to stop, we will not chase you. But if you wish to learn, we will teach you." The signal was broadcast across the galaxy. If everyone listened, on the Zyrix homeworld, some soldiers lowered their weapons. Some training fields stood empty for the first time. Lena returned to Station Harmony. She looked at the stars. "We have planted the seed. Now we wait." Back on Earth, people watched the stars too. Children in schools wrote messages to the Zyrix. Messages of peace, drawings of planets, and poems of hope. Zurin walked through a quiet human park. He watched a small child laugh and run through a fountain. He had never seen such a thing before, and in his heart he felt something new. It was not fear, it was not duty, it was peace. The awakening had begun, and the galaxy was changing. The stars above Earth were quiet again. Zyrix ships no longer moved in attack lines. Some had already left orbit, as others floated in place, waiting. There was no more fire, no more threats, only silence. Lena stood at the top of Station Harmony, looking at the sky. A message had just arrived. The Zyrix war leaders had fallen. The Free Zyrix had taken control of the main command ship. The war was over. Riley read the message 3 times, short and simple. "We choose peace." Across Earth, bells rang. People stepped out of buildings and homes. They did not cheer loudly. They stood in quiet joy. The world had passed the test, not by force, but by wisdom. The World Council held a final meeting. Lena and Riley were both invited to speak. Lena said, "We did not fight them. We showed them. We stood without fear and they finally saw." Riley added, "Fear lost and peace won." The council decided to send an ambassador to the Zyrix homeworld, someone who could speak with their people, learn from them, and help them grow. They chose Lena. Lena stood in front of the council. "I will go, not as a leader, not as a soldier, but as someone ready to listen." The ship sent to the Zyrix world was peaceful. No weapons, no guards. Only a small team, guided by Lena and a few sentinels. Zurin joined them. He wanted to return home not as a warrior, but as a bridge. When the ship arrived, the Zyrix did not attack. They opened a path. The cities looked cold and sharp, but there were no soldiers in the streets. People watched from windows. Some stepped outside. Lena walked through the capital side by side with Zurin. She saw the cracks in the walls, not from battle, but from years of pressure and fear. She met with the new leaders of the Free Zyrix. They sat in a simple round room with no guards. "You have given us a chance," one leader said. "We do not know how to live without war, but we want to learn." Lena answered, "Then we will teach each other, not with orders, but with time." On Earth, Riley worked on a new project. She wrote the story of the entire event. It was not called The War with the Zyrix. She named it The War That Never Was. The book told how the Zyrix came in anger, and how they were met with calm. How the Sentinels stood with quiet strength. How people across Earth never let fear return. It was a story of courage, but not of battles. Children read the story in schools. Artists painted new murals. One showed a Zyrix and a human planting a tree together. Years passed, the Zyrix world began to change. Parks were built, schools opened, music played in the streets. Some Zyrix even came to Earth, not as spies or soldiers, but as friends. Zyrix became a teacher. He spoke in many cities. He said fear can be loud, but peace speaks deeper. Lena stayed on the Zyrix world for a long time. She helped build a center for shared learning. It had books from both planets, open rooms for talking, and quiet spaces for thinking. Riley finished her work and walked through the same garden where she first met Zyrix. Flowers had grown taller. The sky was clear. She smiled. The galaxy had watched the humans. Many other races had expected them to fall, but they had risen, not with fire, but with peace. And now fear no longer ruled the stars. It was not the end of the story. It was the start of something greater. Humanity had evolved. The galaxy had followed.